Good morning, everybody. Great to see you all here again this morning for our now monthly response and recovery calls. Today is Monday, June 21st, and that means it is the summer solstice. So it is the longest day of the year, and I hope that you have a great day. My name is Bettina Swigert, and I am the CEO of Downtown SLO. I recognize a lot of familiar faces and names on this call. We started doing these calls in response to the COVID-19 emergency way back in March 2020, and we're delighted to see you come back for our monthly experience. So we'll try to keep these calls informative, interesting, and meaningful for you. So thanks to those of you who will be speaking today. And I'll go ahead and get on with the presentation. Our board of directors is pictured here, and many of the board are on the call today. We also have our liaisons to the city of San Luis Obispo and also the county. Thanks to all of you for your leadership, especially as we wrap up this last month of our fiscal year. So our board of directors met on Tuesday. Actually, that was not June 8th, it was the week after that. We met and the board discussed the following. So the board received presentations from the city about the parklets survey that ended last week and got a very exciting response. So thanks to all of those of you who took that survey. We may hear more about that in a few minutes from our partners at the city. We talked about parking, and we'll definitely talk more about that in a few minutes. I presented the annual budget for our fiscal year, which runs July 1st through June 30th. And this budget, I'm very pleased to announce, includes programs and events at pre-COVID levels, including some of the following things that you can see listed here. Our farmers market is back to its full force every Thursday night. We will be bringing our special events back to the farmers market and looking to activate side streets and providing more fun activities to bring people into the downtown on Thursday night, every night. We're going to be bringing concerts in the plaza back August through September. More about that in a few minutes. And we'll also be expanding our holiday activities, including the holiday parade. We'll be bringing back Santa's house for in-person visitation. We'll be decorating Mission Plaza, and we'll be doing expanded lighting and placemaking activities around the downtown, in part thanks to a allocation in the city's budget to help support the Light Up Downtown program, which was so popular and brought hope to so many of us during the pandemic in 2020. We have our Sip and Saunter, which is a very fun event. We're looking to bring that back, but we're going to be waiting until the springtime because we do have some additional programming that will be taking place this fall and winter. And of course, we have our Clean and Safe program, which includes our ambassadors and our partnership with SLO, which is providing outreach to our unhoused neighbors downtown. So very delighted to have that budget process complete. It was a bit of the pendulum swinging because this fiscal year that is ending right now ended up being about half the operating budget for next year. So delighted to see things return to a normal operating picture. And we're really looking forward to refining the operations of the programs and bringing them back, evaluating them continually to make sure that they are serving all of the businesses in the downtown, the neighbors in our downtown, and of course, everybody in the county who loves and enjoys coming to our downtown because it's the heart of our county. With that, I'm going to introduce a new member of our team. I'd like to introduce you all to Shannon Del Pardo, who joined our group as the Operations and Public Space Manager at the beginning of June. Welcome, Shannon.
Thanks, Bettina, and hello to everybody out there. My name is Shannon Del Porto, and I'm super excited to be the Operations and Public Space Manager at Downtown SLO. A little bit of background about me: I grew up in Orange County, came here to come to Cal Poly, fell in love, and never left. I've worked with organizations such as Restorative Partners, and I worked at SLO Classical Academy for the past few years. So it's lovely to meet all of you, and I will jump right into our COVID update. So the numbers as of June 18th, there are 10 positive cases of COVID-19 in SLO County, with 47 active cases, 261 deaths, and over 165,000 doses of the vaccine administered. Testing information is available at readyslo.org, and vaccine information is available at recoverslo.org. A little bit On reopening, as we all know, the California economy opened on June 15th. Some of the restrictions that ended include physical distancing, capacity limits on businesses, and the county tier system. Some information on the mask guidance. The mask mandate was lifted except for in special cases such as K through 12 schools, healthcare, etc. And they may ask patrons to self-attest or show proof of vaccination or ask them to wear a mask in their business. And unvaccinated individuals must continue to wear a mask indoors in public settings. Outdoors, those folks are allowed to go without. And I think I'll pass it back to you, Bettina.
Great, thanks, Shannon. We're so happy to have you on board, and I encourage all of you to reach out to Shannon if you have any questions about our ambassador program or any public space issues. So this has been a great addition to our team. You may have also heard that OSHA has been issuing some new guidance that is extremely extensive. I, for one, attended an hour-long webinar on Friday. I believe our partners at the Chamber are going to talk about this a little bit more, but I did grab some of the information from a webinar that I attended last week, thought might be helpful for all of you as you continue to kind of figure out what can happen in the workplace. And OSHA is, of course, the site for all of that information. So as Shannon said, fully vaccinated employees do not need to wear face coverings. There are some very specific language in the OSHA guidelines about when the COVID outbreak occurs. So we do want to be careful to remember that even though the economy is reopened, that doesn't mean that the pandemic is over. The disease is still out there and can be transmitted. So the best way to deal with this is, of course, to get vaccinated as the best line of defense. But if there is an outbreak, there are some things that are regulated in the OSHA guidelines. Notably, I've had a couple of you reach out to me about the line about providing respirators for voluntary use, which is in compliance with this subsection 5144C2, which I'm sure you've memorized that number already. But for employees who are fully vaccinated, they are able to request a respirator from their employer. And so there's some ideas about how to get N95s. I know the governor is going to be maybe accessing some of the stockpiles to release those to some of the larger employers. There is availability for these products now. So for example, last week I just went and ordered some, and they'll be delivered to our office. So hopefully that is helpful for you. There are other things about ventilation, filtration, and air quality, which many of you have been thinking about and addressing for the duration of the pandemic. But now there are really clear interim guidances about this. And so you might want to look into checking out your HVAC system, checking in with your landlord to make sure that filtration is in place. And then, of course, there's the opportunity to allow our wonderful climate to help with the ventilation. Although, of course, last week it was a little bit hot, so people wanted to keep the doors closed and keep the air conditioning inside. I am not an OSHA expert. I'm just your friendly downtown association leader. So I am going to direct your attention to these free webinars that are happening if you're interested in taking a deeper dive into this information. And Shannon, maybe you could put this link into the chat for folks so that they can sign up. I know our partners at the Chamber are also doing some more education about this. I believe the changes came out late in the day on Thursday, and then by Friday, they were already putting educational programs into place. So hope that's helpful. And with that, we're gonna invite our partners at the City of SLO to talk a little bit about some of the parking updates that have been going on downtown. So Gavin, are you on the call?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, good morning, how are you?
Good morning, I'm doing well. So it's an exciting day for us here today. With us reopening, so we'll have operating hours again where you can come down and see us. So a lot of stuff starting to change today, and that's great. We're going to be open for regular office hours Monday and Wednesday, 1 to 4, and then Tuesday and Thursday, 9 to noon. So if you need to reach us and you want to speak to someone, you can come into the parking office, and our office will be open to the general public on those days. On Mondays and Wednesdays from 9 to noon will be by appointment only. Tuesdays and Thursdays 1 to 4 will be by appointment. And then on Fridays, we're by appointment only. So it's great that we're going to be open back up to the public, and you can just stop in and see us when you need something from us. So another big thing happening tomorrow, and hopefully everyone was noticed about this, is there's going to be a video shoot for a car company downtown. So there will be some impact in downtown tomorrow. The director has informed us it'll be 1 to noon. Signage is posted, 7 to noon. Signage is posted until 2 p.m. But we're hoping to reopen the parking stalls as soon as they complete the shots. And each area is supposed to take no more than 30 minutes. So ideally, everything gets reopened back up before lunchtime, and there's not too much of an impact to the downtown area. We had whittled them down from a 2-day shoot down to this smaller window. So it works kind of good for everyone, and hopefully they clear out by the time lunch rush starts to show up. They should not be impacting any of the yellow zones, so loading and deliveries can still take place throughout the day. We've got them down to 2 major streets and then several sub-artery streets in the downtown area. And I can send a link to that later on. Big things happening in the parking structures is beginning July 1st, which is next Thursday. The rate does increase. So it goes up to $1.50 an hour after the first hour. We did change the daily max rate. So that's coming down to $6 a day. So for the people that don't come every day that need to park for prolonged periods of time, this will make it cheaper for them to park in the structures. We did start noticing this last week. We did post signage up, and then we'll have a flyer hopefully going out tomorrow afternoon. We'll get a proof over to downtown SLO for their review prior, but that should be coming out tomorrow afternoon with the notice of that and several other changes going on in the downtown area. A big thing also is July 19th starts the on-street rate change. So that'll go into effect. It's going to go up to $2 an hour in most places. We will begin noticing the community in this week's flyer, but then also, again, heavy noticing going out beginning July 5th, the week of July 5th. So we'll start doing some print media ads and social media ads that week. Most of this information can already be found on our website. So that's up there. We are working towards mobile apps and with the city attorney. So we're working towards next steps there. We already have 2 bids from Park Mobile and Pay by Phone. And Park Mobile is the Cal Poly app, and Pay by Phone handles Pismo Beach and several other surrounding communities. So we're excited to hopefully move forward through terms with them and get them signed on for midsummer and get them in here. And when we bring the mobile apps, we'll also be bringing tiered pricing at that time. So hopefully mid-August we'll have those. And then the last big thing we're working on this summer is the old Palm structure located at 842 Palm. We're working towards getting that to be a gateless parking structure by the end of the summer. We've already started discussions with all of our business partners here at the city, and we've already contracted with one of the vendors. So hopefully we'll have that executed by the end of the summer. So a lot of big changes going on.
Thank you, Gavin. And I want to also call your attention to the fact that in addition to the rate going up July 19th, that is also when the late parking begins. Is that correct?
Yes, correct. So the expanded hours of operation, they currently end at 6 p.m. That'll go till 9 p.m.
So that's going to be a big deal for all of our downtown businesses, since we've had parking enforcement until 6 p.m. for, gosh, certainly as long as I've lived here. So that'll be a big learning curve for everybody. And the more we can get ahead of that time to educate our customers, especially if you work in the restaurant sector, people are kind of accustomed to coming downtown for dinner and then they don't have to pay. So let's understand that this is going to change starting July 19th. Anything else you want to add on that topic, Gavin?
No, so that's going to be part of our outreach beginning on July 5th. So we will be talking to the local businesses in the downtown area, in addition to doing some media posts. So hopefully we can get in contact with everyone. I think it's a good time for us to roll this out as it's summertime and a lot of our tourists aren't fully aware of our operating hours. So the signage we'll have out there should be sufficient to notice them, in addition to our staff being out there to assist people for the first few weeks and help educate them about the big changes that are happening.
Great. Okay. And I'm curious because I think the last time we met, we had been talking about the fact that the budget has been, of course, severely impacted because of all the free parking that was offered during the pandemic. And we do thank you for that. Do you know about how the parking fund is doing now, and is it recovering?
Yes, yeah. So I'll say this. Right now, we're actually doing better than we had initially projected at mid-year. And for that, you know, I think we bounced back faster than the community thought we would. So our initial projections were pretty grim for that, but we are seeing, you know, higher usage in our parking structures. I do think that the rate increases will help us get back to being able to fund some of the other projects we're moving forward with in the near future. But our revenue from the pay stations has been up pre-COVID and is approaching pre-COVID numbers. So
Great. And the same is true for the parking structure occupancy as well?
yes,
Okay, well, that's good. And you said that future projects, does that include the Pomo Cultural District parking structure?
it does. And that's our big push over the next year, is to get that moving forward and break ground there. So we are hopeful to break ground this fiscal year.
So this fiscal year would be before June 30th, 2022, correct?
Correct. We do plan to do some stuff there and start prepping the ground and do some preliminary installation for utilities and other work.
Okay, well, we're all waiting eagerly, and we are advocating for that. So keep us posted. Yeah, and thanks for the update. We'll look for that flyer, and for all of you, those of you on the call, in addition to getting the information from the Parking Services Department, we'll also make sure that Downtown SLO includes any parking updates in our weekly delivery and our member email that goes out to you as well. So thanks, Gavin.
Thank you so much.
All right, up next, another friend from the city of SLO, Mr. Lee Johnson. How are you this morning, Lee?
Doing great, Bettina. Can you see me and hear me okay?
Yes, nice backdrop.
Thank you. Thank you. I think back in the office, my camera's a little funky. I'll do my best today. Couple things. I dropped the link for all the office hours for the city locations. They're kind of different across the board depending on the customers, when they come in, staffing, office space, all that kind of stuff. But those are the interim office hours, and as we progress through reopening, those will keep broadening and getting longer, but that gets us started. Just so everyone knows, I think everyone knows we wrapped up our buy local bonus, which was really successful. We had $720,000 of local spending, 46 businesses were participated, and 4,474 entries were submitted with an average total of $172. Following on that, we now have our support local pledge, the buy local bonus, or this support local pledge. And at the chamber, you can go down and still sign up. There's a few left. If you go in and promise to support local, you'll get a gift card for $20. I don't know how many are left, but there's a few. So if you're downtown, you can head over there and do that. And then the Open SLO survey did close. We had about 5,000 responses, and 72% of those were SLO residents, 21% were SLO business owners / decision makers, and all of that detailed, everything will come out in the staff report a week prior to the July 20th council meeting, where there'll be a study session on the future of Open SLO, including parklands. So that is it for me today.
That's amazing, that turnout for the survey.
Huge.
And can you remind those of us who maybe are not entrenched in city government, can you tell us the difference between a study session and a council meeting?
Yeah, so the study session will be a lot of information, and there will be it's basically a chance for the council to learn about a situation or all the pros and cons of different things, and then provide direction to staff to go out and come up with final recommendations. So it won't really be a final action at this meeting. It will just be, hey, these are the options, council will give us their feedback, and then staff will go come up with the final recommendations and bring those recommendations back to a future meeting.
Great, okay, because I know there are the survey indicates that people are very excited about this, and business owners are very excited about this topic as well. So if they're planning to advocate to city council, should they wait until it becomes an actionable item or send correspondence to council prior to the study session?
To me, the best way to do it is look at the staff report when it comes out, whatever, like July 13th, usually come out about 7 days prior. Look at that staff report and then provide feedback, either written or at the meeting itself. Because
Okay.
council, for example, will say, this is what we want you to look at as far as recommendations. And if they get the input prior to that meeting, then that informs what they direct us to do.
Great. Okay. Thanks for explaining that. It's complicated and it's super important to downtown.
Yeah, and a lot of times with the complicated stuff, we start with a study session so we can get everybody up to speed, get some guidance from council, so we make sure it's kind of like the budget. You get initial direction, then you come back with the final recommendation, so you make sure we're aligned with the council and the community all the way through the process.
Great. All right. Well, we'll look forward to seeing that report, and then we'll also share that out to our membership so that you can be informed about that as well. Thanks very much, Lee.
Welcome. Great day.
All right. Up next, we have Supervisor Ortiz-Legg. Good morning, Dawn. How are you today?
Good morning, Bettina. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you. I'm doing well. I really want to welcome Shannon to the team, and what a great team that you're on, Shannon. Thanks for all the good news so far, SLO City. I wanted to share some things with you from the board. It's been very busy, very active right now. Let me see here. I'm gonna do this. Give me a second. I should have had this open already. Sorry about that. Don't I always do this every Monday morning?
You know, it's been a minute, so we're all in the same boat here.
Okay, good. Okay, stop. There we go. All righty. See what we got here to share with you. If I can share, there we go. Open this back. That. Okay. You can see that. This is an update from District 3. All right. So this is a quick list from some of the things. Last week was our budget hearings, and that's an interesting opportunity for people to weigh in. I would say that for my first time, it was a little overwhelming, and it was, to be quite frank, disappointing in many ways. I really think we have nearly a $750 million budget at the county now. And I would like us in the future to start doing at least one day of workshop so citizens could get a little bit better idea of what each item is about. But I wanted to share with you some of the items, some positive, some, I don't know, I'll not comment on it, but just to give you an idea of what kind is going on over here. One of the great things that happened last week is that we were actually happy to support the SLO Chamber's efforts to do a family coordinator, a family-friendly coordinator to help businesses with childcare. And this is something we'll be committed to for 3 years at $75,000. And that coordinator will help all businesses in the county learn how to do better with childcare or what they can do, and try to create some sort of one-stop shop, if you will, of where people can find information, and then all the professionals in that industry can also plug into, and we can fund, and there will be a one place, whereas right now it's all over the place. And it's really one of the things that we see, and COVID really exposed to be probably one of our biggest vulnerabilities in small business and families, that working families, is that how do you find affordable childcare? How do we get enough childcare providers? So, this is a start. I'm hoping that we do some more things coming down, but that's one thing that came out. So I want to say hats off to Jim D'Antona and his team for really putting this together and bringing it to the board. The board also restored the commitment to the SLO County History Center, and I know Mr. Ashbaugh is very happy about that. That's a commitment that's been around for many, many years, and from COVID, we did take out that money, and so now that's back in to help the History Center continue on. That's a commitment the county had, and that was voted to get that going right away. The board majority also set aside $1 million from our general fund related to the Integrated Waste Management Authority, which basically tells you that that there's a likelihood that that authority is probably going to go away, and we're going to bring the waste management in-house here at the county. We're waiting for a feasibility study on that. We've already spent $37,000 on a feasibility study. Now they set aside $1 million from the general fund to deal with our waste management debacle, is what I'll call it at that point. Okay, that's a big conversation. All right, and then I wanted to share on where we are on our ARPA funds. Again, I think that I'll just say it frankly, I think we could have done a better job as far as trying to start doling out some of this money that is really the citizens' money. This isn't the board's money, this is the citizens' money. Then it really should be going back into the community. So what we have so far is the 54 million. We did get to the agreement on how to split it up, and that was a lot of back and forth, but we'll put 30 million towards community, 14 million, business, nonprofit, childcare, 9 million, housing and homeless, 6 million, and then $1 million set aside for administrative costs, et cetera, which seems a little bit high, but this is going to be a great undertaking, and how to make sure that we're tracking the monies that we're sending out and how we're spending it and all of that. There is 10 million set aside for restoration of government services that had been put into a COVID designation fund. So all the different departments at the county gave up some money, and services were taken away. So there was 10 million to put those services back. And then there's $15 million for water, sewer, and broadband. And so how that's all going to be spent is yet to be determined. Myself and Supervisor Arnold will head a subcommittee to determine how the ARPA funds are allocated, or at least how we're going to go about asking to submit proposals, how to select the distribution of funds, like what organizations, for example, with the COVID relief mini grants that we did, we used the Workforce Development Board. And so I'm hoping that we get some business grants going right away, and also allocate more for childcare before the end of the summer. Things move very slowly in this building. I know that people want to be cautious and careful about these things, but I also think we have great opportunities to do a number of really important things with housing, with homelessness, with the childcare, small business. So I do ask you to continue to supply me with ideas, and hopefully when we meet in July, I'll have something to share on how you can submit a proposal. One of the things that I've been really driving home to my associates on the board is that, yes, there's money coming down from infrastructure, perhaps from the Biden administration, also money coming from the Gavin administration, Governor Newsom's administration, in regards to some of the things that we're talking about here. But what we've been provided this opportunity is stuff that actually folks on the ground here in San Luis Obispo County have come to us and said, here's how we think this should be spent. This is how we can put this together. This is how we can get results. And I think that's a very powerful thing to have it coming from the ground up instead of down, because when it comes from the top, usually there's a lot of strings attached and how to spend it. What you can't do this, but you can do this, and it's got to be spent by this amount of time and all of that. What we have here is we have an opportunity to listen to each of you from the nonprofits, from the agencies, et cetera, and to be able to really, I would think, do some of the most exciting things that, as we say, this is a once in a generation time to have this kind of funding come in. So that's that one. Let's see, next. Lastly, I just want to say, last week you probably saw in the paper, and we're really happy that we've got San Diego and Portland back up. And so I'm hoping to take a flight to San Diego in July for a conference, and I hope that we all benefit from this expanded services. And I think our airport team's doing a great job. And I look forward to talking to you in July. And, oh, wait, I'm not done. There's more. There's way more. This is interesting. So this week, we have focus groups for the folks that live on Crestmont and the folks that live in Los Ranchos Country Club area. is that, we're getting closer to being able to put a roundabout and some improvements to the 227, which takes people in and out of San Luis Obispo to the back area of Arroyo Grande and Pismo Beach, Price Canyon Road, and all of that. And so I'm going to put my email address in there, but we're having with SLOCOG and our Public Works Department and Caltrans, we'll be having town halls this week in order to listen to folks. A lot of people are very concerned. Some people don't like roundabouts, but we all know that we need to do something in order to get the traffic to move in and out of the city from there. Okay, I think that's all I have to share. And I'll stop sharing, and I'm back. All right.
Wow, that was a great update. Thank you so much.
I'm getting a little bit better at this. It's 6 months now. So I hope I can continue to provide you with all the services that you need. And like I said, I'm going to put in my chat my contact information. Okay.
Yeah, it's really helpful to see it broken down like this. Thank you for highlighting the things that are affecting downtown, and of course, even the things that are happening at the airport. We bring a lot of tourists into the downtown, so people are going to be flying in on those flights and staying in the hotels and shopping in our stores. So that's great. It's really helpful, and people live out in those neighborhoods that you're trying to survey about those transportation plans. So thanks for putting it all together. The one thing I was sort of curious about is you mentioned that there is, I think, $5 million for water, sewer, and broadband.
15. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that broadband is now considered sort of a utility, if you will, right?
It's a significant piece of infrastructure for sure. Again, a highlight of COVID demonstrated that very well. And particularly the middle spine or the middle band, or I forget what they call it, but exactly that what we're missing. And so sounds like there's going to be some improvements. If you go to Europe, you can use broadband in the middle of city centers. There's like broadband everywhere. That's where we need to get. We are behind. So between the rural areas of the county, the underserved populations that can't afford it, as well as being able to provide broader access everywhere, this could take us where we need to be.
Yeah, definitely. And the city center conversation is something that we've been talking about at our organization for many years. I mean, I think going back, 6 or 7 years, talking about trying to have some kind of Wi-Fi enabled, hotspot for everybody to connect with. So really good stuff. Thank you so much. And
thank you.
We'll look forward to seeing you in July.
Same here.
In between then too, I'm sure. Okay, great. Up next, we're going to ask for an update from our neighbors at Cal Poly and our Cal Poly representative on our board of directors, Courtney Keno. Good morning, Courtney. How are you?
I'm great, Bettina. Good morning to you, and good morning to everybody on the call. I've missed you all in the past few weeks as we've taken a break. And thank you so much, Supervisor Ortiz-Like, for that update. I learned a few things and really appreciate all that information. So this morning, I was asked to give an update on how commencement went, what to expect from students in Cal Poly over the summer, and then an update on what campus is expected to look like in the fall. So to jump in on commencement, all reports are that it went really well. There was a virtual event, as I have talked about on these calls in the past, on Friday, where all graduates were invited to participate. And then there were 3 ceremonies, one for each college on that Saturday and Sunday, the 12th and 13th. Particular highlights we heard from people where they really appreciated the ease of access to campus and parking. As you can imagine, not having everyone coming in for one ceremony, but splitting it up, it made that really simple, smooth, and easy. So hoping that there's some ability to replicate that in the future. And then for summer, the majority of our courses are being delivered virtually. There's a few in-person courses available, but the student population in town is mostly going to be limited to those who have jobs, internships, or sticking around for other purposes. We have SLO days going on beginning July 7th and 8th, so in just a few weeks, and that will take place pretty routinely all the way through August 13th. As a reminder, for those of you who may not be familiar with SLO days, all new students participate and it gives students a chance to engage with Cal Poly. Some of them are seeing campus for the first time. They're invited to stay on campus if they would like. It's each session is 2 days, and it's just giving all students and their supporters a chance to prepare for the college experience. They participate in parallel sessions. So as students are, for example, there's one on expectations of living and being in the city of SLO, where students hear from the San Luis Obispo Police Chief, the San Luis Obispo Fire Chief, and our Cal Poly Police Chief. So while the students are in that session, the parents and supporters are in a session with another SLO PD representative that many of you are probably familiar with, Christine Wallace, and a representative from SLO Fire, hearing those same expectations so that everybody's on board and understanding what it's like to live in SLO, and then just really things to be aware of. I'll post a link to the chat in the chat for that lists out the days that all of those are happening. And as a reminder, we have students starting to move in September 14th, after which Week of Welcome begins. So summer's gonna fly by, and I know that a lot of you will be impacted by that, which takes us to the fall. So for the fall, we're planning for the majority of our courses and academic services to be in person. Right now, we're anticipating about 85% of our courses to be in person. But those numbers are fluid and are likely to change a little bit over the summer. Part of what allows us to plan for this mostly in-person operation at Cal Poly is the anticipation of the vaccine being required for all of our students and employees that are going to be accessing campus. That requirement is pending full approval of one or more of the vaccines by the FDA. And to track progress in this area, we're encouraging students to submit their vaccine records. So far, about 40% of our total student population has done so, and about 70% of those living in residence halls. And as we're talking to other universities about their success rates and how they're inviting their students and sometimes employees to submit those records, we're doing pretty well. So we're excited about that. Housing, we did get approval from CDPH to be repopulate on-campus housing at close to pre-COVID capacity. So we will have double and sometimes even triple occupancy in some of the larger room layouts. I won't run through all the sanitation that's going to be in place, but you can imagine it's still going to be pretty extensive. And for our sports fans, we are anticipating athletic programs to be returning to near normal conditions, and that impacts intramural sports as well. And then one more quick comment, non-COVID related topic. We have a new dean for the college, Orphelia College of Business. His name is Damon Fleming, and he comes to us from the University of Memphis. He was the dean and professor of accounting in their College of Business and Economics, and he will begin on August 2nd. So all of that, I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone may have.
That's great. That's a lot, Courtney. Thank you very much. Glad to hear that graduation went well. I know that's a big event for everybody. I just have a couple of practical questions about some of the events that you mentioned. The SLO days, about how many people does that bring in at a time? Is it several hundred people, several thousand? Do you know yet?
Well, that's a great question. When I've attended them, just to see what it's like in the past, it's a couple hundred at a time, and that's a couple hundred students. And then they also can bring a few parents or supporters with them. So there's varying, amounts for each session, but that's what it's been like in the past. I haven't checked with our team on what they're expecting during, these altered times during COVID. So that's something I'm happy to check into and get back to you on.
Great. Yeah, thank you. And I missed the date for WOW. Is it September 14th?
Move-in starts the 14th, and then WOW is directly following that. So yes, mid-September.
Great, excellent. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Any other questions for Courtney out there? Nope. Okay, great. Thanks, Courtney. All right, up next, we're going to go to our partners at the Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Jim D'Antona, how are you?
Great, Bettina. Good to see you. Strange now just seeing you monthly as opposed to weekly, but so glad to see everyone. Just want to bring up a couple things, and Supervisor Ortiz-Legg did an amazing job talking about that budget, and having sat through some of that because of what we were discussing there. Big praise for having to trudge through that. It was rough. But I think, again, what she talked about, and we'll have more information on this shortly as we kind of finalize all these details, we're really excited to work with First Five, the county, and any business owner on what it will take to adopt these family-friendly policies to make, grow our workforce, help get staff back to work or people back to work to deal with this, because obviously childcare has been a huge issue for our community. Talking about things we're working on now, we have a regional business impact survey, which we usually do every other month. This one, we think a little bit more important than, or more insightful right now than we have in the past, because this one will deal with you reopening. Where do you see yourself going? What questions do you have that are a key part of this? So we're doing this regionally. We're doing it all the way from Buellton up to Paso, through both North Santa Barbara County and SLO County, just to figure out what issues are most prevalent and the ones we need to tackle. These surveys have been super important because they've been the ones who, back at the start of COVID, helped us understand what were the concerns, what were the issues. Now we're getting back to this new piece with Cal OSHA, finally getting some of the rules set. What do you understand? What do you need help with? So looking, if you can go ahead and get a chance, if you're not on our mailing list and you can take that, that'd be fabulous. This Thursday is Good Morning SLO, one of our last virtual ones, not the last one. We are working closely and quickly to bring it back in person and in hybrid form, so that we will be able to, if you want to participate in person, that will be an option. If you want to participate in the hybrid or virtual setting, you can do that too. So we're going to be able to, we're working on that plan right now. It's looking like August will be the first kind of real in-person version. And we will be kind of hammering out the hybrid versions of this in July. But this one in June here, we'll have a great program talking with the SLO Blues, back to work, recovery, dealing with cancer, some really great topics. So hopefully you can join us on that piece. Lee talked about the Support Local pledge. There is a bit left. At this moment, I haven't checked in on Sunday's totals, but again, come down to the visitor center, go ahead and pledge to buy local. We'll get you a gift card for one of our businesses. And this has just been a fabulous, fabulous way that the city has engaged our local business community. It has been, the city did amazing work to do the grants. And those were big, kind of $5,000 grants, and had major impact for people. But I will tell you, the $500 for businesses going for this has actually been the most popular thing. So it's been amazing. The city has done amazing work to try and buttress our economy. And so we're just excited we're down to the last few on this Support Local, and then thinking about working with the city long-term as to what the next steps will be. But there's still a few left. So, this last Support Local pledge help the city get out another $10,000 to almost $15,000 back into our business community. So I'm just blown away by how great our city has done to try and support and keep our local businesses going. And then finally, Bettina did a great job talking about Cal OSHA. And I just want to, we will drop in the link here. We have links to a lot of the things she talked about. So if you want to click on those, you can go. We also have a website that has all of these links to all the different places. We are following all of these kind of questions of who has to wear a mask when, and like Bettina talked about, those respirators versus N95 masks, and having those available for staff and having them for unvaccinated people in your community, and what rules you have to follow in terms of documenting your staff, and keeping those records sealed and secure. It will be difficult, but at least at this point we have some kind of clear guidelines. And so again, always feel free to reach out to us. And Bettina has great information too, because we know this is really confusing time, and not everybody has time to kind of sift through all of these incredibly long and complicated pieces. But like Bettina's, again, the most important thing that Bettina talked about, which I agree with, was what happens in an outbreak, that you have to document, that you have to change. If you have an outbreak at your site, Cal OSHA, that is the thing that can lead to huge fines and can be very expensive. So please look at the rules of what an outbreak is and what you have to do if you have one at your place of business. So I'll close out with that. And thank you, Bettina, for giving us some time to talk about that.
Thanks, Jim. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. In fact, I was on a call with the International Downtown Association group last week, and we were just talking about how across the board, there's this new concentration on how to be an HR expert. And many of you I know out there are dealing with this right now because of labor shortage issues that are going on. And of course, with the the changing landscape around what is allowable and how to prevent your employees from becoming sick or making other people sick. So there's an emotional quality to this too, or if you want to just kind of talk to us about what that's like, we'd be happy to have that conversation too, because Jim and I are in the same boat. We're trying to figure out what's best for our teams and how we can adhere to the laws and keep everybody safe, and also do the rest of our jobs, which are considerable tasks in addition. So
nailed it, Bettina. Yeah, it's exactly right. It's complicated, but again, that's why we're doing it. So hopefully you can bounce off questions or just frustrations even. We get that.
Definitely. All right. Well, good to see you. And thanks for hosting the bike valet every Thursday night. Has been really fun to see in front of the visitors center. The bike valet has moved over there now, thanks to SLO County. That was just great to see.
It's amazing, and it was incredible to see the volume of things, and it's really such a cool place to go set up. So I love everything SLO County is doing over there, and really creating this kind of welcoming space to hopefully grow everybody doing those biking into downtown.
Great, thanks, Jim. Appreciate it. All right, and speaking of the farmers market, so we are now back to our full operations at the farmers market as of Thursday, which is really fun. And we were delighted to bring it back in its condensed fashion for 5 weeks, but now having all of the food and people smiling at each other where you can see their teeth, and the 5 weeks, the 5 blocks of activity, including entertainment, is really, really great. So just a reminder, because it's been a minute, if you are a business in the downtown business improvement area and you are within those boundaries, then you are automatically accepted to participate in the farmers market. So that means that there's no application fee and you will pay a reduced weekly fee for your booth. So we'd love to have you join us, and you'll see more vendors join us over the weeks that come. Here are just a couple of pictures from last Thursday night. Pretty wild to see. It was a happening night indeed, and with the warm weather, people just kind of didn't want to go home. At 9 p.m., we had to tell people to move along because everyone was having such a nice time. One thing that's really interesting is to see how the parklets integrate into the farmers market. And that's something that we had a very, gosh, I don't even know how to quantify the number of conversations that we've had about that internally, but it ended up working really well. You can see here in this photo on the left that diners were enjoying the food from a restaurant that had a parklet in operation, and then visitors to the market would move aside. Some of the parklets have the diners actually facing toward the market, which gave it a more enhanced street side atmosphere. So we'll do it again on Thursday night and the Thursday night after that, and let us know if you want to participate. The Plaza pop-up for this month is, of course, celebrating Pride, and a big shout out and thank you to the Gala Pride Center. Artist Lynn Schmidt created the Love Notes installation that features work by more than 100 community participants who painted on these boards that are on display in Mission Plaza, and there's dining every day from 11 to 8. There's also a tile restoration project that is going on. The Parks and Recreation Facilities Management team is replacing those beautiful Saltillo tiles in Mission Plaza, many of which have been cracked. So if you see a fence over there, that's what's going on behind the fence. And we've gotten word from the contractor who's working on that project that the project is supposed to be done around the first week of July. But it'll definitely be a shiny new carpet for our next Plaza pop-up, which will be coming in July, brought to you by the SLO Children's Museum. So we're very excited about that. And the next thing that's happening in the Plaza is starting in August, on Friday, August 6th, going through September 24th, we are going to have concerts in the Plaza come back. So we have 8 bands, and we are still looking for some sponsors. So we have just a few opportunities left. We have 2 major level sponsorships at $1,600 and 3 band sponsorships left. So if you want to see your business's banner wave in the Plaza during concerts in the Plaza, hope that you can join us and all of these wonderful people who are listed here. We'll be bringing back the beer from Firestone Walker. We'll have wine from Chamisal and their sister vineyard Moline, and we'll have cider from Jean Marie Cidery. And Sunset Honda is our presenting sponsor. So we're very excited about that. And you can reach out to me directly if you would like to sponsor. Thank you so much. And now I'm going to ask Shannon to give us a little bit of an update on what our ambassadors are doing in our Clean and Safe team. Shannon?
Thanks, Bettina. So for those who don't know, our Clean and Safe program has a few ambassadors who are in our community 7 days a week. They're doing things like picking up litter, removing graffiti, acting as outreach to visitors. And we also have an ambassador hotline where businesses can reach out with any issues, such as, a mess in front of their storefront or things like that. So I will drop that in the chat for all of you. So we have Tyler, who is our full-time ambassador. And then we have a new addition, Melissa, who just started last week. She worked at Hearst Castle for quite a while, so she's a very friendly face. We also have Junior from SLO. He's an outreach case manager, so he is working with the unhoused community, offering them services and things of that nature. So if you see any of these folks out and about, please do say hello. And I brought you a couple numbers today, as well as just a little picture example. So you can see there's a bunch of trash, litter, things like that. And then there's a beautiful after picture where one of our ambassadors cleaned up that mess, cleaned up that storefront. So from July 2020 to present day, over 2,000 pounds of trash in our downtown have been removed. Over 621 graffiti tags have been removed, and over 1,600 pieces of gum have been removed. That's a lot of gum.
We like to keep the gum in Bubblegum Alley.
Yes, that is the place for it. And they have also taken over 170 calls from business owners and community members. So you may not see them out and about, but they are there 7 days a week, working really hard to keep our community clean and safe. And a couple numbers from our SLO outreach manager, Junior. He has connected with over 595 unhoused individuals, offering them resources, services, things of that nature. And he has spent over 286 hours downtown. And that's only from November to present day. So he spends quite a bit of time down here. He has directed 15 clients to 40 Prado. He has de-escalated a number of situations in our downtown, and he's provided 133 resources to our unhoused community. So he's working really hard, and if you see him, definitely say hello. He's a super incredible resource.
Great, thanks, Shannon. And I know some of you may have participated in our last business education series, which was specifically about homeless services in the county. And that is available on our YouTube channel if you'd like to see that. Junior spoke on that, as well as representation from the county and also the SLO Police Department. So we know we're hearing from you about challenges that are going on. And we're trying to do the best we can. And Junior also does some outreach to businesses as well. So if you do want to have a conversation with him, we're happy to connect you to him. Thanks for that, Shannon. I wanted to also just let you all know that we are on the radio quite a bit. We spread the word about downtown happenings every single week. Our program director, Whitney Cheney, who manages the farmers market, appears on KZOZ, The Crush, KJUG, and The Coast. And I go on KVEC First Look with Andy Morris. The interviews are taped or aired live, but sometimes they are aired multiple times. So we talk about everything from the farmers market and what produce is going to be there that week, to what businesses are opening downtown, to what types of events are happening in the plaza. I also host a monthly segment on KCBX Issues and Ideas. There's a segment that I do called Around Downtown. This one airs one Monday per month, and it's 1 to 2 p.m. And this afternoon, there will be a segment with Luke Schwartz, who is the transportation manager for the city of SLO. And we're talking, we had a great conversation about public space in downtown San Luis Obispo, but also all over the country and in Europe. So if you want to tune in, you can hear us on the radio as well. So that brings us to a close at 10:59. I guess we have not forgotten how to do this. We do have some great information that's gone up in the chat. Thank you, Catalina from SLOCOG, for that information about your work, and especially on those focus groups. That's really important. If anybody lives and works in those neighborhoods or has family, we do encourage you to check that out. And of course, we send out as much information as we can each week. We have 2 emails that go out. One that goes out on Tuesday, and that's our member email to all the businesses in the downtown. And then on Thursday, we share with a larger group that's kind of a public-facing email called the Delivery. If you have any content you'd like to have us promote that are open to the public, let us know. We're happy to see new businesses opening downtown, and the best way to welcome new businesses to the downtown is to walk in and say hello. So those of you who are seeing new businesses open, stop by, say hello. We're so happy that you are here. We're so happy they are here. And we look forward to seeing you again for our next Monday Zoom, which we're going to have to retitle. I don't think we have to call it Response and Recovery anymore. Maybe we'll have to call it like the Resiliency Workshop meetings or something like that. Anyway, we'll see you next month. And in the meantime, I wish you good weather, good humor, good spirits, and good health. Thank you, everybody.